Yeah, sweet. We just found a point. Look at that. Right there. Returning to a specific geographic area for further investigation is sometimes necessary, and so it is with this trip. Recently, I had discovered a very interesting site that produced half a dozen projectile points, and I found a specific section of a hill that seemed to be the place where some of those points might have been made, judging from the abundance of debitage. Searching an area is time-consuming, and you really don't get far, especially if you begin to find artifacts. So I decided to return and search the area to the west of where I'd first explored. There may be a chance to run into more artifacts, and this trip would certainly be worth it. D-Rock here, welcome to the channel. Please join me as I head out into the desert to discover what once was. Buenos dias. We have returned to a spot that we were searching a week ago. Man, let me tell you what a difference a week makes. I'm in an area, this would be the last video I posted if you want to check that one out. This is an interesting area. I've been calling it the Valley of the Hunt. So what it is there's a lot of elevation gain, hills, in this area as it continues westward into high desert forest. To the east is some lower elevation as it moves up into this higher elevation, and there's multiple drainages, wide drainages. These would have been paths of least resistance for animals in migration routes. Higher elevations in the summertime, coming down to the lower elevations in the wintertime. So I'm around 6,000 feet. This is a good area, and I felt it would, it was and it still is a fertile hunting ground. And I figured this would have been a good spot for people to hunt, probably for thousands of years. And I began searching the hills. On the last trip, I searched this area, 2 hills, and what I discovered was there was a layer pretty much in the middle of the hills, where the top of the hill, the bottom of the hill, the ground's really rocky, jagged, not very comfortable. In that middle layer, there was lots of soft sand. And in that layer is where I found an abundance of debitage or lithic material. This indicated people were working on tools, producing tools, projectile points, whatever. Below that layer, in the sides of the drainages, is where I found quite a few projectile points. So I was under the impression people were in that layer, the comfortable layer, the soft sand, working on their tools, waiting for animals to come below them where they could throw or shoot down. It's easier to throw down or shoot down at something than it is to throw or shoot up at something. So that's kind of generally what I was thinking. And I thought, well, if that happened over there, then more than likely the same thing happened on the other sides of the hills, sloping down into these drainages. So I'm just going to search a different part of this area today and see if we come across any artifacts, such as projectile points or like hand tools, scrapers, monos, anything of that nature that I can come across on the surface. I can only find things on the surface. And where I'm standing right now, this is already a good spot. So you can see I've already am finding debitage. This is obsidian. This is one of the primary materials. for making tools, projectile points. The other would be chert. And yeah, hopefully we can find more artifacts today. One thing I always generally like to point out is that it is an absolute time suck searching these specific areas. There's some more obsidian right here. So that's a good sign. There's intermittent spots of like level spots, gentle slopes, where the ground, you can see the surface texture of it. When I find finer sand, that seems to be a spot that was preferred naturally. I mean, I would prefer comfort as well. So I kind of just use all these variables and make decisions on where to search. So we're gonna give it a shot today, and hopefully we come across an artifact. So yeah, what a difference a week makes. Last week when I was out here, there had recently been a storm, so the temperatures were a little cooler, but man, that is not the case this week. Well, as I'm checking this out, there's a hill right in the middle of this drainage. I'm gonna go have a look at that area before I check out this spot here. That would have been a good spot to hang out, because you've got two drainages coming on either side. The drainage there, and then on the other side of the hill. So you could sit up there and watch both sides, and it may be pretty comfortable up there. And then of course, up in here in the trees, that's probably a nice, I bet there's debitage in there. When I come back, I'll search in this area. Yeah, the ground's not very comfortable up here, but I'm still finding debitage, obsidian. So people were up here working on tools, and as I'm wandering through here, having a look, I think about what was, let's just say 750 years ago, your group of hunters moving through the area. I say 750 because I found a rose spring point in the first trip out here, and that would be around that time period, Fremont, Ancestral Puebloans. So as you and your group move through the area, I wonder what your typical loadout would be. What did you carry with you? How many arrows did you carry? Did you carry arrows and a spear? I mean, I just wonder what the individual typical loadout would be for a group of hunters moving through this area. And if they did successfully kill an animal and process it, where did they take it back to? That's what I think about. Because according to the topographic maps I studied right here, there aren't any springs. And some pretty varied country. So where would all those points I found on the last trip down there, where would they have brought, would they have brought it anywhere? Would they just consume the animal there and then moved on? I mean, yeah, so many questions, Oh, that's just what I was looking for. You see the change in surface materials here? It goes from rocks to something a little finer. I can already see the ground's glowing all over there. That's all obsidian flaking. Right on the edge of this. Yeah, look at that. Whoa, hello. I just found pottery. That's a lip. I found pottery out here. That is so unusual. I guess it's not that unusual, but at the same time, it's very unusual. Look at that. What is pottery doing right here? This is like a bowl or a cup. What is pottery doing? Yeah, look at this. Obsidian flaking. Obsidian. Debitage. Pot shared. Whoa. What have I, is that more pottery right there? There's more pottery right there. Look at all this. Huh. How about that? place it right here. Oh, look at that. There's some chert right there flaking. Piece of chert. All right, I'm just taking a break here in the shade. We're going to have a look at this piece of pottery that I found. That is so crazy to find pottery up in here. Get a little more in the sunlight. You see those crystals there? I think that's mica. I'm not sure. So this would have been, well, I don't know what could have, I'm thinking this could have been like a small bowl or a cup or something. Because it's got the, I think this is like the lip of it, but I'm not sure. I'm not a professional at this, so I have no idea how old this could be. This could be 1,000 years old. It could be, yeah, it could be a little later than that. Yeah, just not sure. Plain gray, yeah, maybe 1,000. Yeah, it's just my own speculation, but just wanted to have a quick look at this. So that's all we found in the immediate area coming. Pot sherds, chert, and obsidian. So someone was right here on the edge. It was rocky, a little better. And, well, they were here. That's all I can tell you. This is an interesting area. I'm still just a little baffled. Why would there be pot sherds right here? I guess why wouldn't there be? I mean, there's quite a bit of obsidian flaking right here. What have I come across? Whenever I find pot sherds, I feel like I'm somewhere kind of sedentary, and I wouldn't have thought that to be so here. I don't know. It's a little strange, and it's just right on this edge. See where it just goes from the cobblestones, the volcanic rock here, to something a little more finer. And then there's just the drainage right here before it goes back up. I might want to go up to the top of this hill here. That might, I don't know. It seems that my thoughts were correct about this particular area, though. Because there's a nice drainage that goes through here. There's also a drainage on the opposite side. So I'm going to take a minute and just kind of slowly check the edges of this drainage. There might be more stuff in here. This is pretty cool right here, and I love it when I find things like this. So there's a small juniper tree growing right here, and if I just move some of the branches, you can see right here, there's a large pile of lithic material. It's obsidian. So someone sat right here and worked on their tool, and that's a pile. You can see how some of it's been uncovered, some of it's still jutting out of the ground. And there's flakes all over the area right here. Look at this. So, oh yeah. Look at that. All on the edge here, including that pile, people were hanging out. Might be in a camp right here. I mean, that drainage might not have been there 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago. The land, I just found a point. Oh, I was about to say the landscape is always in a state of flux here. It's always changing. There's nothing static. And yeah, sweet. We just found a point. Look at that. Right there. Okay, that's our first artifact today. Well, intact mostly, I should say. Let's have a look at that. Wow. Oh yeah. Looks like it's intact. Ooh, what do we got here? Let's check out that base. Is this a Humboldt? I think this is fully intact. This might be a Humboldt. You can see how it almost has those two tangs at the bottom there. My thumb is. Humboldt, maybe Pinto Basin. If it's either one of those, then this is an old piece. We're talking late to middle Archaic. But it might not be that. Like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm not very good at identifying these. So if you guys have any comments, what you think this may be, by all means hit up those comments. I think it's totally intact. Well, that's pretty impressive. I'm actually a little surprised that I was able to find a point, especially in this area where there's an abundance of debitage. Got some different materials here. Obsidian, basalt, chert. It's all down there on the floor, surface here. Well, I guess I was right about this spot. I'll take some more time and really have a look through here. And I'm a little, the pottery's a bit of a curveball, to be honest with you. So that point I found may not be that old. Maybe a few hundred years old. Not really. I can't tell, to be honest with you. So if it is a Humboldt, then it's pretty old. Could be something else though. It might not even be associated with the pot sherds. It's just, who knows? And once again, I've found someone's pile. Look at this. Someone sat right here and worked on a tool. This has slowly been uncovered by wind, rain. That is so cool. Someone sat right here and worked on a tool. There's all their flakes. All right, I've moved out of this area and I'm making my way to drop down. Right in this area, there's a wooded patch. And as I'm making my way in, I think I've got a point right here. All right, do I have a artifact here? Ooh, yeah, I think I do. Oh yeah. Oh, look at that, folks. Oh yeah, that's a point. And that's a stemmed point. Look at that, that's a stem right there. Oh my goodness. That's, it's been worked on both sides. I could be mistaken, but this may be is that a notch right there? Right there. Tough call, man. And this point is not very big, about an inch. It does seem to be notched now. Initially I thought it might have been stem, but there we go. Right on. All right, that's 2 today. Not bad at all. All right, I'm right on the edge of the wooded section here, and there is quite a bit of obsidian debitage out here. So I'm feeling relatively comfortable that there might be something inside the trees. Well, the little wooded section didn't really have much of anything in it, just a little bit of debitage, obsidian flakes. I mean, that's about it. Surprising. Anyway, making my way out here. The heat is upon us. It is cooking, man. So we're going to make our way out of here and return another day. So we did strike out. Wow, look at this. Huh. Is that a little scraper right there? Absolutely. We'll definitely have to go in for a close-up of this. There we go. Yeah. Nice ledge. I think, well, that might have been something else there. Looks like there's a notch right here. Maybe it fractured and they just turned it into a scraper. Perhaps not, but it's an artifact. It's been worked on both sides, so it's a biface. Wow, I was just about to sign off and I found this, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's getting too hot to chase lizards. All right, like I said, we're gonna work our way out of here, back on down to the truck, and we definitely have to return for another day and go further back. So it's a fascinating area. And like I mentioned, I found 3 distinctive points, or 4 now? Not certain. That last point I just found, originally thought was a stemmed. Maybe it's not. Yeah, like I said, I'm not too good at identifying these, but regardless, it is, the pottery is definitely throwing me for a bit of a loop. I'm just not so sure what some pot sherds way back here. I don't know. It's really, I guess it's not strange. Who knows? Anyway, it's a fascinating area, very interesting, and I definitely will continue to search farther back and see what we stumble upon. So as always, thank you very much for watching. I've got lots more content on the way. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It is free. It helps the channel tremendously. Folks, we'll see you next time. D-Rock out. Adios.